Hey guys, Sidewinder here, back for Community Starcraft 2, and today I'm going to bring you a set of games that was played from Blizzcon 2011, which I know was a couple of weeks ago. But, yet again, this is another very good series from what I understand that did not make it on stream, so I want to bring you guys as much content as possible from Blizzcon that you might not have seen live. But this particular set of games, like all of them, is going to be a best of 3. And it's going to be between the blue Terran imba'BratOK, who is a, I believe, Ukrainian or Russian Terran player. I can't remember where he's from. But I know for sure his opponent is mTw'DIMAGA, and he is from the Ukraine. And he's the red Zerg, and they're spawning on cross positions here on Shakuris Plateau. And I'm really excited about this series. Like, these are two of the most underrated players in the world that could really stand toe-to-toe with top-level Koreans. And just to have them squaring off here from BlizzCon should be a lot of fun, so I hope this turns out to be a good series. And we'll see what happens. Now mTw'DIMAGA, the question here is if he's going to hatch first, and I unfortunately don't get to see enough of mTw'DIMAGA to see what he wants to do right out of the gate against Terran. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a hatch first, but if he does that, I mean, you can get away with that with Terran. On this map in particular, though, you have to watch out for that triple bunker block that I think people first saw happen when Select did it. But bratOK, nevertheless, is going to, looks like he wants to go 2 racks. So that was just going to say that's the big risk of going hatch first, is if they go 2 racks like this and put it in an aggressive posture, then it can be pretty hard to deal with. And you can see bratOK pulling his SCV off the line to try and fight this drone. And this drone just won't win this. He's just already behind in damage, and there's already another SCV chasing him out of there. So at least mTw'DIMAGA did delay the barracks by just a second, and mTw'DIMAGA is actually going to hatch first against this. And he does need to throw down his pool, and this is a pretty late hatch. I think he started this on either 16 or 17, and that is really, really late. I don't know if he just plays against bratOK to know that maybe he just won't pressure off of this, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. Here comes mTw'DIMAGA's pool right behind it, and he's not starting gas, so it doesn't look like he's very interested in getting Zergling speed right off the bat. Whereas a lot of Zergs will take their gas and their pool at the same time and figure it's not that big of a loss. He's being really drone heavy right now in this opener, but bratOK does have these 2 racks up, and he's not starting Marines off of here right away. His supply depot wasn't late or anything, like he could have started them now, so I don't know what he's doing here. Maybe you just want to mess with mTw'DIMAGA a little bit. Now he's posturing like he wants to throw down a bunker, but there's no Marines being produced off of these barracks, so really high level metagaming here going on, and it looks like bratOK's just going to drop his command center behind this and make mTw'DIMAGA worry about the 2 racks. But by now, I mean, the hatchery's already finished and the creep is spreading, so mTw'DIMAGA, as time goes on, has to be thinking more and more, there's nothing really coming, but you don't want to get into that mindset and then get caught with your pants down. But mTw'DIMAGA does have 2 queens coming out of both of his hatcheries right now. bratOK going to go ahead and take double gas, so a very interesting pace of this game so far. Command center is about 1/3 of the way done, and once that gets up, that'll put bratOK in a really nice spot. Of course, he can throw 1 more barracks down here or a factory or whatever if he wants to fully wall that off, and you can stay walled behind here for quite a long time and be really, really greedy on this map in particular. So I think a lot of Terrans do like this map, but at the same time, a lot of Zergs do have little flanking angles that they can take advantage of here in the middle. Mutas in particular are really good on this map as well, so we'll see how much mTw'DIMAGA wants to commit to those, or if we're going to see a differently styled game than a typical TBZ or ZVT, depending on which side you're cheering for here. mTw'DIMAGA is going to get out a 3rd queen, which I really like to start spreading creep and eventually connect up to your 3rd. Small squad of Marines just pressing out to clear out the watchtowers. mTw'DIMAGA not even letting his Zergling die, so he is really committed to making sure that everything goes as planned. There are 2 Marines up here that will push that Zergling away, but at least mTw'DIMAGA is going to see exactly what's going on at the top of the ramp. He does see both the barracks, and he just sacks that Zergling to make sure that that barracks is actually still there, which it is. So, oh no, he lost 2 Zerglings. It's the end of the world. Here comes a spine crawler out of mTw'DIMAGA, starting to spread that creep, and both of his queens are just kind of hanging back here. Doesn't want to get them caught out in the middle of the creep where Hellions could come and kill them, if indeed that's what's coming. And there is a factory finishing up right now for bratOK, and he's just going to go for a double starport. So this looks like it's going to be 2-port Banshee just right out of the gate. And this can be really nasty to hold off if you're Zerg and you don't have knowledge of this coming over there. So mTw'DIMAGA does have, whoops, I keep misclicking. Daimaga does have one Overlord here, but it's going to get shot down by Marine, so he's not going to know anything about this double Stargate play. He did see one more gas, and he did see no gas spending so far, so if you see another gas taken out here and no gas units on the field, it's only Marines, you got to be thinking, okay, there's only so many things he can spend gas on at this point in the game, and he's going to be Daimaga's going to be in a lot of trouble if this 2-port Banshee is able to get about 4 or 6 Banshees before it finally moves out. So it really just comes down to how Daimaga is going to handle it from this point, as Banshee DPS, once it gets stacked up on top of itself, it gets really devastating to try and deal with that. Here come the 2 Banshees right now out of the 2 starports. Is he going to start Cloak? He doesn't, well, he does now exactly have the gas, so he can if he wants to. And yes, no, it looks like he wants to start Corvid Reactor. It could have been a mistake because they're right next to each other, but I doubt that he has his hotkey set up similar to mine. I don't know. Is he expecting like an Overlord Scout or something? Because that's the only thing I could really think of. That is very strange. We'll have to keep our eye on that. But back here in Daimaga's base, he's got a lot of drones. He's pretty heavily saturated here in his main. 54 drones to 39 SCVs for bratOK. So Daimaga holding a fair lead right now, and that Corvid Reactor is still going. I don't know what the meaning of that is. Daimaga taking a third here, and for those of you that are not familiar, I should probably explain what this is. Corvid Reactor is your Raven energy. So it increases the starting energy of Ravens by 25, and I think this is the first game I've ever casted where Corvid Reactor's actually been on the way, and it looks like it's going to finish. And I should explain a couple of other things about this. Sometimes you can fool your opponent into thinking that your Banshees are going to have Cloak when you don't really want them to have Cloak by starting a random upgrade on here, so that if they scout it, they're going to see that spinning and be like, oh no, Cloak Banshees, when it's actually not. And usually just cancel that upgrade, but Corvid Reactor is going to finish. And immediately after, a Raven is started. And he has the gas for a second one, too. There's another command center ghosting. I'm sorry, I'm just so interested in seeing what happens in this Raven play. Never seen this before. But out come a couple of Banshees. They are going to try to cancel this hatch, and they're getting a lot of damage on it. They're actually going to, as these Queens... Oh, no, they actually do not get the cancel off of there. Only 100 hit points remaining. And he can transfuse the hatchery, but that sucks to have to use Queens trying to transfuse, and 4 more Queens are on the way. So Daimaga is going to be on a lot of Queens here in just a second. Yeah, Raven production continuing, so look at Daimaga. Okay, this is so smart to scout out to see if those Banshees are still there with just a Changeling. Something you almost never see. Here comes a double Marine drop here out of bratOK, crossing by these Banshees, saying that they will take over the damage from here. And behind this, the mutas are going to be out here in just a second out of Daimaga, so he's going to have 10 mutas on the field right away. Baneling's Nest is ready, but Daimaga doesn't have a ton of stuff on the field right now, as he's being fairly economically greedy, had to spend a lot of money on Queens and stuff like Spine Crawlers, and he is working on spreading his creep quite a bit too. Look at this creep spread. It's about to hit the middle of the map, and that's really good. The mutas are going to fly into these Marines, and if Daimaga is not paying attention, he could lose a lot of mutas here. 3 mutas go down for free, and that is bad. This drop is going to be cleaned up, though, because the Marines will have to jump into medevac at some point, and if they don't, I mean, he can still focus down mutas, as one more muta does pop over here. All the Marines are dying in the middle of all these clusters of Zerglings, but he does clean that up. He did lose a few mutas there, and that's definitely what you don't want to see. A couple of Banshees are still poking around here, trying to kill the Zerglings that may be crawling around for extra expansions. The third is now done for bratOK, and Seeker Missile is on the way. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen this before. Just straight into double Raven Seeker Missile? That is so strange, and this is why... If you're Blizzcon, hello, you need to be taking notes here. This is why you broadcast as many games, or all of them if you possibly can, because when do you ever see 2 Raven, Corvid Reactor, Seeker Missile, all coming down at the same time? I don't even know what to say. This is so rare to see all this stuff happening. Here comes an armory now, and I don't know if that's for extra armor or attack upgrades. But the mutas are swinging around the top of the map here. They're still only 10, so they will get a lot of work done, but my god, if an unexpected Seeker Missile goes off in the middle of these mutas, which it will finish here in just a little bit, that will just be devastating. Here comes mTw'DIMAGA pressing in with his mutas. bratOK just opens the door so that his Marines can run around freely and he won't have to worry about that so much. mTw'DIMAGA's supply lead is actually at about 45 right now, so fairly healthy. And mTw'DIMAGA carting around an Overseer as well. Man, this is such a weird game. These guys have to play a lot against each other because they're both two top European players. And the only thing I can think of with all this weird stuff coming down is just the fact that they both know each other so well that that's really all they can do is just mess with each other and do so unexpected stuff that the other person will just get too caught off guard. Marines are trying to chase down these mutas, but they just stop. And the mutas do come back in here, pick off one Marine, huzzah. He now sees all the Ravens, so he's got to be like, Seeker Missile comes out on the mutas! Oh, wow. Oh, almost all those mutas just got wasted, but he is able to at least outrun the Seeker Missile, and he stops his mutas for a second. Okay. Oh. This game is insane, but here come the mutas pressing in here once again. Seeker Missile goes off in the middle of all these Marines and Zerglings, and it does friendly fire damage. Look at all these Seeker Missiles destroying these Mutalisks. And my god, this is so weird. mTw'DIMAGA does press up here with all of his Zerglings, and he's doing a ton of damage to all these SCVs. The Marines now have to press up here and try to take over the natural, but it looks like mTw'DIMAGA just has too much stuff. Some good baiting hits taking out Marines. The mutas are now in the middle of bratOK's base, and there's just not enough stuff here for bratOK, investing too heavily into those Ravens. And yeah, I think mTw'DIMAGA is really going to break him here, and bratOK does have to say good game. Wow. Yeah, Seeker Missile this early. I know it didn't pay off, but what? Like, I don't think this game was on stage. At least I didn't see it, but that's insane. I have never ever seen that before. Corvid Reactor right off the bat into double Starport Raven. That is really strange, and you can see the reason that bratOK died is because he... Number one, he was trying to use Seeker Missiles for his splash, and that's going to hurt your own stuff as much as it hurts them if you're targeting Zerglings, so you can't expect to be able to take out Zerglings and Banelings like that. But you just can't roll without tanks for very long, or at least Hellions at the minimum. So bratOK going for a really weird build. I would love to see him actually make that work. Look at these Marines dying, dropping their shields and just dying in acid. Yeah, that was really weird. I'm actually really excited for Game 2 to see what's going to happen here and see if bratOK tries that again, because that was so strange. Yeah, I guess I'll be back for Game 2, so check that one out if you have a sec.